You said it once, maybe to a friend, maybe only to yourself. I'll never sell her. Not in a million years. It wasn't ink on paper. It was carved into the quiet spaces of your mind. Every turn of the key was proof you were still the person who made that promise. But promises like that, they don't live in the real world. Not in the world of overdue bills and 3 a.m. questions about how you got here. When the day came, it didn't feel like betrayal. Not yet. You told yourself it was the right thing, that it was just a car, that you could walk away untouched. But deep down, you knew the truth. You can't unmake a promise without unmaking a part of yourself. It wasn't just a first drive. It was a collision, not of metal, but of timelines. The man you were, and the man you wanted to be, meeting in the same driver's seat. She wasn't polished for a showroom. She was waiting, dust in the wheel wells, the faint smell of fuel in the air, like she'd already lived a life, and was willing to share it with you. When your hands wrapped around that wheel, you didn't just take control, you inherited a story. Every scratch in the paint whispered about roads she'd already seen. Every rumble in the idle dared you to take her farther. And as you eased onto the road, the world didn't disappear. It simply became background noise. You didn't think about forever, but somewhere in that first stretch of asphalt, without even realizing it, you had already promised her you'd never let go. Most people think a car only shows you the road ahead. The right car shows you yourself. She wasn't just chrome and horsepower. She was a reflection of everything you were, and everything you were too afraid to be. When you were bold, she matched your pace. When you hesitated, she exposed it in the empty space between gears. She didn't forgive your fears. She made you face them. Every corner whispering, "Do you want this? Or do you just like pretending you do?" In her curves, you saw confidence. In her idle, impatience. In her headlights, the truth you'd been avoiding. And once you've seen yourself that clearly, there's no going back to looking away. It never starts with a decision. It starts with a whisper. A parking ticket left unpaid. An oil change you push off another week. A thought, small, harmless, that maybe you've outgrown her. You don't say it out loud, not to your friends, not even to yourself, because that would make it real, but the signs keep stacking. She sits longer in the garage. You start noticing other cars. Newer, quieter, easier. You call it curiosity. You stop taking the long way home. Driving turns from a ritual into a chore. Doubt doesn't arrive all at once. It seeps in through the cracks of everyday life, and by the time you feel it, it's already made itself at home. You expect a moment like that to be heavy, to feel the weight of every mile pressing down on your chest. But when it came, it was quiet, too quiet. A handshake, a signature, keys that felt suddenly lighter. You told yourself it was fine, that it was just a car, that you'd forget soon enough. But the loss doesn't hit when you hand her over. It hits the next morning, when the garage is just empty concrete. It hits when a Mustang passes you on the road, and for half a second you convince yourself it's her, and then you realize, the goodbye already happened. You just didn't notice when. You tell yourself you don't think about her anymore, but she's there, in the curve of a fender 2 cars ahead, in the sound of a downshift on an empty street at night. Some ghosts don't need to be seen, you feel them, in your hands gripping a different wheel, in your chest, when a corner feels just a little too steady. You call her a machine. Logic says she is, memory says otherwise. Sometimes, in the mirror, you'll catch a shadow that looks like her. For a moment you'll believe it, and then you'll remember, she's gone, but she's still following you, just far enough back, that you can't quite let her disappear. You thought the hardest part would be letting her go. It wasn't. The hardest part is living with the space she left behind, not just in the garage, but in you. At first, you try to fill it, another car, another project, something to smother the echo, but eventually you stop trying, because some spaces aren't meant to be filled. They're meant to remind you of what mattered. She taught you that promises aren't just about loyalty, they're about identity. Breaking one doesn't erase who you were, it just changes the road you're on. You don't need her to be that person again, but every time a certain engine note cuts through the air, you remember, you were lucky enough to have it once, and maybe that's enough.